joining me live in the back end of Losers Month. 25th of October today, and I've waited very patiently for a rain to get back on this heavy land, and so far very happy I did. Could have gone either way though, as we know, but we had about an inch of rain 2 days ago, which was just enough to soak through nicely. We've had a pass over here with a power harrow, and then I'm following up behind. He is probably out of sight, I should think, but over there in the distance. And we've got 70 acres to do down here, or just shy of 70 acres, and it is going rather well, to be honest. Really didn't have a lot of choice other than to wait for a rain down here. This is the field which you may remember a handful of videos back. I was over here with the Cousins seedbed cultivator, bouncing around all over the cab all day. It broke my mudguard, it broke my GPS antenna, and as you can see now, tiny bit of bouncing, only a normal amount. It's going lovely after a power hour pass. So fingers crossed we made the right decision holding off. Should be a good bit of moisture around when we spray it as well, which will help chemical work, and we're getting to that time of year where it's pretty much damp every morning, isn't it? There's not as much dry out now, so that would have been my other concern with drilling any earlier with how dry it was on this type of land. I was speaking to a friend the other day, and I think there are a fair few bits of land about drilled early where it hasn't worked, and there's quite a lot of black grass come, which was just, with how dry it was on here, it's something I was really conscious of. All of my heavy land is very black grass prone, so I just almost rather put a spring crop in it than risk having a winter wheat crop full of black grass, and I'm doing quite a lot of years of hard work to get it fairly clean. That doesn't look too bad, does it? We'll carry on with that. What a pleasant evening it's turning into. It was all going a little bit too well, wasn't it? Shortly after the last video clip yesterday, the fan on the drill stopped working, which is a problem I've had before. I don't think it played up last season, I think it was the season before that, and I replaced several bits inside from the hydraulic motor through to the fan, the shaft and bit where it connects and this, that and the other, which I'll no doubt show you in a minute, because I think that's probably where the problem lies again. And yesterday it stopped working, so that's handy, isn't it? Anyway, just going to dive into it now and see if we can find the problem and get going again. Yeah, this is what I thought it was going to be. So there's a coupler here. That's got a roll pin in it, which is broken. That roll pin goes through that shaft in there, and this coupler sits on that shaft and the motor there, and for some reason it keeps breaking roll pins. I think I did a whole season without it doing it, but I replaced the shaft in there because I kept trying just new roll pins and thought, well, there's obviously more of an issue, so I replaced that shaft, this coupler, see if there's any play in them, and the bit that goes on the end of the motor there, the geared piece, or toothed piece, sorry. And now it's done it again, so I am going to try and get another roll pin in that, put it back together and see if we can get finished off. But yeah, no idea what's causing it. I have to have a word with the Vardastat man, I think. But to do this, I've got to have this whole fan housing off. So I'm going to take that pipe off, split the fan in half, then I can take the circlip out for the shaft on the other side, get the shaft out, put this lot back together, put it all back in, and the only thing will be whether my speed sensor works on the fan. And I have got a spare one, but it was one I'd taken out and replaced before, so it doesn't look too bad, but I can't remember if it was working or not, and we'll see how we go from there. I've put the new roll pin in the coupler, got the fan apart still at the minute, and I've just plumbed it back in, put the pipes on there and there, fired it up, and unbelievably the sensor, which is a little bit mangled, is still working, so that is a big plus. I haven't got to try and do something with that. So theoretically I should be able to get it back together now and carry on and hope that that roll pin holds on, well, for at least until I've finished this block of land, and I'll probably just keep going on the next bit until it causes me a problem again and then try and sort it out after. But yeah, hopefully we can get away from this bit and get back home again. That'll be handy because we're not very close to home here. Right, let's go and see if this works. We're away again now, covering some ground. While I was fixing that, my phone was pinging off constantly, so I had a look at that. Hair courser alert group. Hair coursers, at least 2 different cars going through where the farm is, driven all over. I drilled wheat again, neighbours drilled wheat, just ridiculous. And then neighbour turned up while they were on his, pushed him out of the area. They drove straight past a police car. The police car didn't even notice, and he comes back after pushing them away. He said to the police, "Did you not see the hair coursers just drive past you?" No. Bloody brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. That's been the last 3 or 4 weeks, probably at least 2 days a week, usually on the weekend, but some stuff midweek. And yeah, obviously as we've been drilling over that time period, that's meant more and more drill work's getting driven and wheel span all across, so really does make your blood boil. There we go, all done. Bar the little breakdown, that's gone fairly well really. Just started raining in the last hour fairly gently, enough to make the Vardastat flick a lot of soil up and make itself filthy. But not enough to stop us drilling and get finished, so just the heavy land left locally now, which, as long as we don't get too much rain this afternoon, I'll crack on with in the morning. If not, I think we have got a fairly sensible week ahead of us, so if it needs a little time to dry out, we'll wait until it's ready. Off to tackle the next bit of heavy land this morning. Just driving down the road past a couple of bits of wheat. Oh, there's a bit. That's obviously not a bit of wheat in there, but I was just going to show you all of the nice fresh hair courser tracks. So So obviously you can see a bit across that cultivated field there. Then we've got, well, they've had some real fun on the neighbour's field here that's just recently been drilled. See that in the distance. Across there. Some nice figure of eights there. There you go. Just what you want on your fresh drilling, isn't it? And then just at the end of the road here, a nice good track where they've drifted off the muddy field onto the road, chucking up soil and ruts all over the place on one of our freshly emerging pieces of wheat. Just what you want. Here we go. Yeah, lovely. Thanks for that. All up and down the headland, all up and down the headland of the next field behind the house there, which was drilled ex-sugar beet. They've been on that several times now already. Unfortunately, there's no way of blocking the fields off around here because it's all so open. Wouldn't even really bother me that much if they just stuck to stubble and overwintered land, but that just does my head in on drilled work. Just point the camera over here, this field. It's the other one they've been on. You can't see any on here. They've been on that other side over there, but it is all it's all nicely coming through. I have been on that headland there as well, actually. Yeah, it's about 3 or 4 weekends on the trot now, multiple times a week, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes in the week as well. So getting rather fed up of it now, and it's only early days at the minute for that sort of nonsense, isn't it? Anyway, enough about that. Try not to talk about that anymore because it makes me angry. Just going to get dieselled up. Going to change the fuel filter on the tractor, so I thought that was going to let me down yesterday. Just getting to the headlands of the field, and rev started to die, and we've done nearly 230 hours since the last service. I like to try and do oil and fuel filters, an oil change every couple of hundred hours, 200, 250. So we're getting near that. What I'll do is change the fuel filter now, so we won't get in a muddle with that on this next block of land, and then hopefully do the engine oil once I've got this next heavy block done before we start in the next bit after beat. There we are, new filter on, bleed screw undone, a few pumps. Yeah, let's see what happens. Famous last words. Well, she started. I'll tell you what, you're not going to get much better conditions than this on this type of land. Just lovely, absolutely lovely. This was power harrowed about 3 weeks ago, maybe a bit more, when we had about 10 or 12 mil of rain. And then, as you can see, just straight in on top of the Vardastat, go to treat. Have pulled the power harrow through where the tram lines are. just to level off where the sprayer wheelings were from when we sprayed it off for Roundup. But yeah, I'm bloody pleased with that. Going very, very nicely. Fuel filter seems to have sorted out the issues I was having yesterday. Haven't had any more revs dropping or anything like that, and it is a hard old pull for the old girl on this type of land. We're in a reasonable depth of the drill. Cultivator discs are working, leveling paddles are working. When it's full, like it is at the minute, I've just done about a round, so it's got a good 1.5 ton, 3/4 of seed in there. She knows she's got it, bless her, and she's doing the job. One thing I will need to keep a close eye on is any slug pressure. I can't imagine there's going to be any amount of slug pressure this year, just because of how dry it's been. It's obviously not been good conditions for them, but now we've had some moisture. No doubt some will start appearing. I'd be half tempted to roll this if I was confident it was only going to get drier, pays off nicely. If it looks like we're going to keep getting showery weather, I'll probably leave it and be ready to possibly put some slug pellets on with the pre-em. Have a good look around a few days after drilling, see if I can see any signs of them, and go from there. Nearly across the big field now, 87 acres. Get that down to headlands tonight. There's a little 7-acre field just across the road next to a neighbour's. I'm going to get in that and drill that out before I go home. I'll have enough in the drill for that, and that should leave a fairly sensible day tomorrow. Get an early start in the morning, get it done within a sensible time, hopefully, as long as everything goes to plan. Just on the silt bank here, so a lot easier going. Getting along a bit quicker, lifting it out of the ground a little bit. I am keeping all fingers and all toes crossed today. We've had a couple of mil of rain overnight. It did say there was a 50% chance of something, and it seems like this field has had a little bit more in it than the yard did a couple of miles away. But we are just going. It's very borderline conditions. Had more diesel trouble last night. Changed the other fuel filter, which isn't usually a problem. So far, so good. Also just took the bung out the bottom of the tank. Sometimes there's a bit of diesel bug snot in there, which you tend to get these days with the diesel, with the what do you call it, the biofuel in it. But yeah, at the minute we are getting on. There's a little bit of a dodgy start. Drill's got plenty of mud on it. Wheels are kicking up a little bit. Plus 10% on the seed rate until we get out of this field. It should improve reasonably quickly. It's sort of breezy, the sun's coming out, so I hope by the time we get into the next field we'll be a bit better, but we just don't want any issues. Rain is forecast all through the morning tomorrow, and then the rest of the week looks on and off catchy, so I feel like if we don't get this today, we will struggle to get back on it. We are nearly there. It's hazed off nicely through the day. That first field didn't go too bad, it improved quite quickly. These other two fields went lovely, so I've just finished this one, which is nearest our yard down here. And then Buddy's been round the power harrow on the headlands, starting the field I was in this morning. Do the headlands and that, work my way back up to this one, and then we are done. That will be all heavy land in, so about an hour and a half, 2 hours work left, so let's hope we get around that smoothly. We're on the headlands of the last field. We just got to get around this 3 times, and that is all the heavy land in the bag. We've just got enough daylight to get round before it gets dark. Come on. Yes! All done. Considering how this morning started and how the last few days have gone with problems, a bit of rain, very pleased with how that's gone. There's about 3 or 4 rounds on that field I started on this morning which weren't ideal, but I think it'll grow fine. I certainly think it'll grow well enough. I did think about going back over it again and just putting a little bit more seed on, knocking it about a bit more, but it's still quite sticky, so I think that'll probably do more harm than good. And considering the forecast has changed, it is now going to rain tomorrow, which is Wednesday, for most of the morning, and originally this week was just pretty clear, so I'm glad I've got finished a little bit ahead of schedule of where I initially thought I was going to be. I had a phone call earlier off of Mr. Lakey. He's just turned up to start our next bit of beat, so we'll go and have a look at that. Well, I don't know if he'll be in the morning, again depends on the weather with the rain, but if not, go and have a look at that when he comes back again, maybe tomorrow afternoon, maybe what are we now, it'll be Wednesday, maybe Thursday, so we're going to have a look at that next. But yeah, that's everything up to date until that gets lifted now, and then we'll follow in and get drilled behind that. So good one to tick off the list. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching, and please hit that subscribe button. We're slowly creeping up on the subscribers. Slow and steady wins the race, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.